Bob here with SkidSteerSolutions.com, and I'm here with the Eterra BPD-1250 breaker style post driver for skid steer and compact track loaders. The BPD-1250 is the largest model in this series of breaker style post drivers. Now what you're seeing here today is one that's got a weight plate option as well as a tilt tach. So what we see here at the back here is a Bradco Tilt Tach. This gives you 18 degrees of rotation in either direction. So this allows you to be on a bit of a side hill when you're driving posts. In front of that, we've got a weight plate added. This is just to give it a little bit more down pressure. Skid steers are notorious for having actually all the weight on the back end. So most of the machines that you're working with today either have 60 or 70% of the weight actually on the back end, and that enables them to lift a lot without tipping the machine forward. But in this case, we're actually pushing down. So that weight actually is counterintuitive to what we're trying to do here. So what we always trying to do with any of our post drivers or any of the augers that we sell is we try to get as much weight up front as we possibly can, and that's why the weight plates were designed. So with the tilt tach weighs about 425 pounds. The weight plate adds another 500 pounds, and with the BPD-1250, you've got a total of over 2,000 pounds of actual grunt to go down and drive those posts as deep as you need them to get. This is a highly reliable post driver, but it's used in extreme conditions. So Eterra always makes sure that the components are sourced in the USA. So if something should go wrong, you can get the service and the parts you need fast. So starting from the top, we've got our POWERCELL. If you notice here, we've got an isolator. There's one in the top and one in the bottom. And what that does is it keeps the POWERCELL isolated from the metal components of the driver so that when you're operating it, you don't have the vibration force going down through your pins down into the machine and shaking the machine apart. Let's talk about the valve body. It's a completely independent valve body that works with the POWERCELL. What happens is the oil goes through and gets worked through the valve body into the POWERCELL, but it doesn't mix with the nitrogen gas. So that enables you to, if you need to, you can service the valve body and not lose the charge in the POWERCELL. The isolator and the supports are held in by this drive cell housing. If you look at the steel construction of this, it's all structural tubing, and then on the outskirts of it, all of the mounts and everything, that's all structural plate steel, everywhere from 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch, with gusseting all the way around, and protection around the valve body, as well as we've got 1/2 inch plates. Here we've got 2 back-to-back going into our skid steer mounting plate. So if you look overall here, this is a really overbuilt design, but what this does is it also gives us some weight for our downforce. So it kind of has a twofold purpose. We've got a really strong housing and we've got lots of downforce. Let's talk about the subcomponents. This little cap up here, this is your valve. This is where you charge the nitrogen gas. Now this POWERCELL takes 290 psi of nitrogen. It already comes pre-charged from the factory, so it's ready to go once it arrives. And you just want to check it if you're using it full time. You want to check it maybe once a year, or if you do start to lose a little bit of power, you want to just put a gauge on it and just test it and make sure that the pressure's up to scratch. We call this the donut. It's a little rubber disc that fits inside this bracket here. We pop this out with a screwdriver, and from the other side there's a hole. We push that pin out, and that enables us to quickly drop the tool out. This is the only breaker that I've seen that does it this way. It's simple, easy, inexpensive if you do lose a pin or something, and it just works amazingly well. Why would I want to be able to remove this tool quickly? Simply because one of the key features of a breaker style post driver is the ability to actually use a breaker tool. Eterra makes a specialized breaker tool which is 5 feet long and easily fits into the same spot where the cup goes. So that's why you want to take it out. You pop this donut out, drop this out, put the bigger tool in here. Now we can go into really hard, heavy hitting ground where I might have some rocks in the way, maybe there's some concrete in the way, or there's just some really bad roots or something I just can't seem to get through. Put this tool on, pre-drive all your holes, come back, put the post cup back on, drive the post in easily and smoothly. You're going to notice that there's a solenoid control valve here. And what this does is you've got 2 hoses coming out of the machine, but we've got to somehow get 2 sets of functions going here. So one set of function is straight through the valve, and that's actually running the POWERCELL when you're trying to drive. But then we want to divert it so that we can run the tilt tach. So what we have is electric over hydraulic solenoid valve here. We have it connected up through one of our plug-and-play adapters that goes right into the machine. So now if we need to angle the post driver in either direction, what we do is push one of the buttons inside the machine. That powers the solenoid, which redirects the oil out to the tilt tach, and then we can direct the tilt tach in either direction. Now let's talk about this electrical connection here. This one is set up for a 14 pin. Okay, it's got what they call a plug and play. What a plug and play is all of the attachments that are sold through Skid Steer Solutions. They go out with just a single 2-pin connector on them. And then the plug and play has this special connector on it. And what this is there's actually an LED light in here that connects up here so that when you're pushing the buttons, you can see which button actually makes this thing actuate before you even get going. But all of the attachments have this on here. This is a 14-pin. They also have an 8-pin available for Caterpillar. There's also a Bobcat 7-pin adapter, which works on all the CAN bus controls of the Bobcats. And if you don't have any kind of electrical on the front of your machine, there's a single switch unit that just tie wraps onto your stick. So either way, doesn't matter what kind of machine you have or how you want to set it up, Skid Steer Solutions has a solution to enable you to run all of your electrical functions for any attachment. Let me show you something really cool about this post driver. See this bolt pattern? You can easily remove these bolts, put an excavator cup on, and now use this as a multi-purpose breaker style post driver, not only on a skid steer, compact track loader, but you can also put it on an excavator or backhoe. Another couple of really cool features here is we've got a plumb chain here, which helps you to keep your post that you're driving in plumb position. There's also a hook at the front here, so you can either remove old posts, or if you misdrive a post, you can get a bigger, heavier chain, hook it on, wrap it around the post, and use this hook just to pull it out of the ground. Just another couple of really simple features, but just makes the post driver so much better to use. Eterra is the innovator and original manufacturer of breaker style post drivers for skid steer loaders and compact track loaders. You can find these and other amazing Eterra products at skidsteersolutions.com.